Welcome to another Connecting the Community podcast. I am Marge Andre, the host of this podcast, where I talk, for the most part, to people doing good things in and around Richmond Hill. On this podcast, I am talking with John Holland and Grace Quinsey about Opera York's upcoming performance as Pirates of Penzance. It will be on stage at the Richmond Hill Centre for the Performing Arts Thursday, July 16th and Friday, July 17th. Welcome, John and Grace.
Hello.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, very glad that we've found the time between all your rehearsals and such for this production. Very much looking forward to this conversation. John, I've had the pleasure of having you as a guest several times in your role as the director of Chorus York. And last year, we did a podcast about Opera York's HMS Pinafore with both of you. Let's start with both of you talking about your musical, theatrical careers. Grace, you are a beautiful singer. What is your training?
Well, I've been studying classical voice since I was about 12 years old, but music comes from my family. It's always been a part of my family. My mom has an absolutely beautiful voice, and there are a lot of musician and Gilbert and Sullivan lovers specifically in my family. So I grew up surrounded by it. I've now been performing opera and operetta professionally for many, many years now. When I'm not singing, I'm actually a software developer. So my life is a fun mix of code during the day and high notes or low notes at night. So
okay,
a double life.
I would not have guessed software developer. So, okay.
It's a good balance.
So, John, you sing, conduct, you're an academic. Is that correct?
I can also fly, leap tall buildings in a single bound, and I'm faster than a speeding bullet.
Okay.
But yes, I have reached the holy trinity of the music world. So I'm a professional opera singer, and I've sung around the world, including even in Canada. And I grew up singing in my hometown of Windsor. And then I was in London, Ontario for a while, and then moved to Toronto. I've always had a love of conducting, and over my singing career, I've had some opportunities to try my hand at conducting, pun intended, and realized it was a good fit for me as well. So I've delved into conducting and singing, which is great. And, I'm the artistic director for Chorus York and also for the Toronto Classical Singers and Blessed Trinity Parish in Willowdale. I've conducted around the GTA as well, but I've also conducted some Gilbert and Sullivan shows even in the past when I was in the London, Ontario area. As for academia, my PhD is in musicology, which is music history, and is focused on Czech opera. So if you ever have any questions on that, I'm your guy. My family had some musical background. My dad's side, not so much, but my mom's side has a family polka band. So I grew up in that tradition and then went into singing.
Okay, so I don't know if I should admit that my father was a banjo player, but
I love the banjo.
Yeah, why not?
Okay. Well, let's go on. And can you tell us a bit about Opera York? Like, what is its mandate and how long has it been around?
So Opera York has been around since 1996, and it's a professional opera company right here in Richmond Hill, which is amazing. The shows are performed at the Richmond Hill Centre for Performing Arts, and it focuses on a mix of community engagement with professional performers. The company uses Canadian singers with an emphasis on artists from Ontario and artists with connections specifically to York region. So Grace and I have been in several Opera York productions since 2023 when things reopened after the pandemic. And I know it's a really special company. I mean, the sense of family and community that is created between the soloist, the chorus, the production team is something that's very unique in the opera world. And it really adds to the community impact. I think audiences come and they see their friends on stage, which is a great thing. For Richmond Hill to have a professional opera company like this is a huge feather in the cap for the community.
Yeah, and Opera York specifically, one thing I really appreciate about them, and I think the community does as well, is they do such a variety of repertoire. So if you're a seasoned opera lover or even like a newcomer, there's always something for you to enjoy.
Okay. No, very, very good. And thanks for reminding us in Richmond Hill how lucky we are. I think we don't often acknowledge that. So Opera York does a comic opera in the summer, but a serious opera during the year, early in the year. Is there a better word than serious to describe the non-comic opera?
Yes. Yes. So there are technical terms. So the serious operas are called opera seria. And that's operas like Tosca, Rigoletto, Madama Butterfly. They're operas where the plots have stakes that are very high. There's a lot of emotion, and spoiler alerts, one or more characters may not survive to the end of the opera. That's the serious side of things. And then you have opera buffa, which are the comedies. So buffa like buffoon. Those are things like The Barber of Seville, Marriage of Figaro, Elixir of Love, Die Fledermaus. They're pieces that have lots of fun. They have iconic characters, mistaken identities, and usually end with a happy ending. But even within those two definitions, there are subcategories, such as the ever-confusing drama giocoso, which is the joyful drama. Like, what is it? Is it serious? Is it comedy? But works like Don Giovanni fit into that. But yeah, those are kind of the two main streams of opera.
John is very obviously a musicologist. He knows everything.
Yes. Okay. I asked the right person that question. Yeah. Okay. So
Opera York, they do 3 operas a year. They do a comic opera, a serious opera, and then an operetta in the summer. Light opera, generally in English. So they give everyone so much experiences.
I thought there was only 2, so yeah, I'll have to pay attention to the third one. So what really is a comic opera? And are there many comic operas?
Honestly, I think it's exactly what it sounds like. It's an opera designed to entertain and make people laugh. The storytelling is funny. The characters are often a little or a lot exaggerated. The music is full of energy. Gilbert and Sullivan really became famous for creating these wonderful, witty comic operas, but they're such a blast to watch and to sing in.
Yeah, and as Grace mentioned, there's a whole subcategory of comic operas by Gilbert and Sullivan. It's its own thing. But even before those, there was a long-standing tradition of comic operas. Like I mentioned before, when we think of comic operas, we think of the works of Mozart, Donizetti, Rossini, Johann Strauss, and even into composers like Dvorak, Puccini. I think it's even more challenging to write a comic opera than a serious one, because you have to really set up the musical timing and set up the jokes, and that's kind of a skill in itself. And this is where the G&S shows really, really shine.
Who chose Pirates of Penzance for this year? Did either of you get a voice your opinion at all?
Well, last year, Opera York did HMS Pinafore, and Pirates of Penzance is often a natural follow-up to Pinafore. They're both nautical themed. And historically, after the huge success of HMS Pinafore, Gilbert and Sullivan followed it with Pirates of Penzance, referencing a lot of Pinafore in it. It had the same witty humor, memorable music, and playful spirit. So it's generally considered a great companion piece. I believe Opera York has a production team consisting of Penelope Cookson, Philip Trow, and Jeffrey Butler, who decide on the season each year.
Okay, so you guys didn't have any voting rights to what was being produced?
No, but if I did, I think Pirates was a good choice.
Okay, very good. So let's talk about this production, Pirates of Penzance. What is the setting and the storyline? I think people sort of know, but don't really know.
It's very ridiculous in the best possible way. There's a tenor lead, Frederick, who was accidentally apprenticed to pirates as a child because someone misheard pilot as pirate. On the day he's finally free, he falls in love with Mabel, who is my character. But then an absurd technicality about his birthday throws everything into chaos. Along the way, there are hijinks with pirates, policemen, daughters of the Major General, and continual misunderstandings until everything resolves happily somehow.
Okay. And what is the setting, the place, the time?
So it's set in Penzance, which is a city on the English coast. So that's where the whole title of Pirates of Penzance comes in. It's usually assumed that it's, early or mid 1800s when it's set. It was kind of set in contemporary time for when Gilbert and Sullivan were alive. So that's kind of the setting and kind of the the time period and time frame of where it is. It's kind of ironic because you have conflicting groups of people. When we think of pirates, we think of like the swashbuckling pirates of like the 1600s, 1700s. And for example, the police officers are like the English Bobby police officers, which are more into like the 1800s. So you have this antiquity pirate theme versus like contemporary police and major general themes from Gilbert and Sullivan's time. So it's kind of a weird time frame. It doesn't really suit a specific era, but those are the two periods that kind of conflict.
Okay. So this is a Gilbert and Sullivan opera. You, as Gilbert, wrote the script and Arthur Sullivan the music. Is that correct? And what's your opinion of their creations?
Well, I think it's obvious that I absolutely love Gilbert and Sullivan.
Mm-hmm.
Their music is so infectious, and the humor still lands 150 years later. There's a reason why it perseveres. I actually performed GNS throughout university with a society that put fully staged productions on, and people absolutely loved them then. Do they love to be in them? They love to come to them. The fact, like, audiences fill the theater for Gilbert and Sullivan, and Pirates of Penzance is the most famous one. So, absolutely, I'm an A+ Gilbert and Sullivan fan.
Okay.
What about you, John?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I mean, I often get funny songs about politics. That's what my characters usually get. Politics or patter songs. And those are fun things to do. I just think, like Grace said, the humor is so timely. Even a lot of the political and social commentary is 100% valid to today. It's amazing how it still withstands the test of time.
So there is a deeper message from this performance, or is it just entertainment, fun?
Well, it is first and foremost a comedy. People do come to laugh, but Gilbert was incredibly clever. He loved poking fun at authority, social conventions, and people who take themselves too seriously. So underneath all this fun, there is gentle satire, but you can also enjoy it without having to think a little bit too hard about all the political detail that he is including.
What are your roles? I think, Grace, you've mentioned you are Mabel.
Yes, I am the lead soprano, Mabel. I sing the iconic Poor Wandering One, which is the most famous Gilbert and Sullivan soprano aria for sure. And I'm offering my heart to the handsome, though slightly lost Frederick. It's wonderfully over the top. It's got lots of coloratura fireworks. And it's basically Mabel falling head over heels for Frederick, who meanwhile has absolutely no idea what's hit him.
Okay.
And so I play the role of the extremely timid sergeant of police, which is a bass role and a comic role, which is something I absolutely adore. I love being a ham on stage. There's some wonderful musical moments in which the police force is tasked to capture the pirates, but they're all extremely timid and scared to do this. And they're kind of spurned on by the Major General and the Major General's force of daughters. There's a lot of really funny comedic moments where, people are supposed to be hiding, but making lots of noise and things like that. I can assure you, though, by the end of the show, the audience will be singing the words tarantara, which mean nothing, but I'm sure they'll be singing them.
So have either of you seen this performance, say, on Broadway or in the UK?
Yeah, I mean, there's been lots of performances of Pirates of Penzance over the years. I've never seen anything on Broadway or in the UK, but there's a very, very famous film version that was done with Kevin Kline and Linda Ronstadt and kind of like Hollywood or pop music people put into this. And it was kind of campy, but it was a lot of fun and it was very popular in its time. So that was something I saw when I was very young. And then I ended up in high school, was in a production of Pirates of Penzance, and that just started me on kind of a love of Gilbert and Sullivan and of this shtick, so to speak. But yeah, that's kind of my experience with it.
Grace, where have you seen it? Oh, I've seen so many productions online, listened to so many different interpretations. I'm actually I don't think I've ever seen a live production of it, which just seems strange. I've seen many other GNS live, but just not Pirates of Penzance.
Okay. So, and this Pirates of Penzance, it has inspired lots of takeoffs, variations of performances over the past 100 years?
Yeah. So as Grace said, it is arguably, or not even arguably, the most famous of the Gilbert and Sullivan shows. And it's had a lot of interpretations. It's had a myriad of performances since its inception. One of the things that was kind of an interesting little tie-in is that when the Disney Pirates of the Caribbean movies came out with Johnny Depp and Orlando Bloom and all those people, when they were very popular, people started to do the Pirates of Penzance in the aesthetic of those Disney films. So the role of the Pirate King in Pirates of Penzance was done in a Jack Sparrow-esque costume. So there was a lot of tie-in with the aesthetic of those films and modern productions of the Pirates of Penzance. So it was very interesting to see that crossover in a way.
Yeah, okay. Now, is there much interpretation that Opera York does?
I mean, we've seen our costumes and we kind of know the staging. Well, I hope we know the staging by now. But it's a pretty standard production, which I think is very important for an area like Richmond Hill. And it's a wonderful insight on the behalf of the production team, because the last thing you want to do is bring in a production that's kind of wacky or offbeat that confuses people. The show is hilarious as it is. It's beautiful as it is. And if you do a traditional performance of it, it'll be a hit. The last thing you want to do is mess around with it too much. Just give Richmond Hill the real deal and you're set.
But there are a couple of twists and turns. There are surprises for sure. Every company manages to put its own twist on things. And for example, I'm actually going to be 34 weeks pregnant when I'm performing this. So I will be a pregnant Mabel, which is a little unusual. And we're working it into the plot. So come see how that resolves.
Congratulations, but yeah, and good luck.
Thank you.
I'm glad this performance isn't next month. So
me too.
Yeah. Okay. So the music, it's classic. I saw references and looking it up where it's been adapted to other performances, scripts, pop culture. Can you remind us where we may have heard some of the songs? I believe the one song is "I'm the very model of a modern major general," and
that is the famous one.
John, you want to sing that? And is there another like where else would we have heard this song?
So I think
for sure.
Yeah, I am the very model of the modern major general has, it's a tongue twister as it is. It's a patter song, and the cast member who's singing it is kind of a veteran of these Gilbert and Sullivan patter songs. So it's kind of a tour de force to see him sing this. The interesting thing about this, it's been used in television commercials. It's been used in movies. There were actually some TV show episodes. I remember an episode of the TV show Scrubs that was a musical episode that had one of the characters adapting "I am the very model of a modern major general" to something to do with like being the resident surgeon in a hospital. And it was just, it's amazing how it's become part of pop culture like that. That for sure, I think, is the most referenced piece in pop culture. Poor Wandering One, I think, does get referenced from time to time as well. But I think that the Major General song for sure is the most referenced.
Yeah, it's been in so many television shows. Like it's been in Star Trek. It's been in The Muppet Show. If you whistle that tune for anyone, they generally will recognize it.
Okay. I will admit that I can't think of the tune, but I'm sure I will recognize it when I hear you guys perform it. So, yeah. So, it has been very hot lately. Are you rehearsing in an air-conditioned space, and how are the rehearsals going?
The rehearsals are going very well from our standpoint. I know I can speak to this. I know Grace can speak to it as well. There's been productions with other opera companies at other times where things can go slowly and things can be a bit tedious. But in general, Opera York is pretty organized and things go pretty well. This has been a really quick turnaround time, though, for this production. And I was saying to Grace the other day that it seems like it's moving along very quickly and very well. We've been getting into full runs of the show, which is great for continuity and great for confidence for the cast, because everyone gets to hear the show and experience the show as a full thing, not just individual numbers that we're rehearsing.
Yeah, and one thing specifically I want to call out is the chorus. We have a huge chorus, and sometimes it can be very difficult to manage large groups of chorus members because there's so many people, and it's hard to always stage everyone at once. But everyone has become so prepared and so committed that all the rehearsals are going ahead so smoothly, and the chorus is comprised of community members primarily. So it's just all these people came, they showed up and fully committed and are ready to sing and ready to stage, and things are just going so smoothly.
Okay. So how many cast members are there? You've talked about the chorus, and how many are in the chorus?
I'd say, are there about 30 people in the chorus? 25 to 30 people?
I would say 25 to 30. And there's about 10 cast members, 10 leads.
Okay. So that's a lot of you in this rehearsal space. So has it been an air-conditioned rehearsal space? I was afraid that you were in some part of the old church that wasn't air-conditioned.
It is, I think it is air conditioned, but once you have all 40 of us there, it's a little steamy, especially when we're all moving and marching. But we're everyone has been okay so far, even the pregnant ladies. So.
Yeah, we were told it was air conditioned, but
Yeah, I'm not surprised. So right now, there are lots of outdoor concerts happening, but I certainly like the idea of going to an air-conditioned space and not worrying about storm brewing. So I'm going to encourage people to treat themselves. I'll put the link to the theater's website and your website to purchase the tickets. So, hope we have a really good crowd. Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Well, opera can sometimes seem intimidating if you've never seen it, if you've never been before, but this production truly is not intimidating at all. It's welcoming, funny, and we would absolutely love to introduce new audiences to Gilbert and Sullivan. If you've never been to an opera before, this is absolutely one of the best places to start. It's in English, it's funny, the music is incredibly catchy, and it's suitable for the whole family. You'll definitely leave smiling and humming the Major General song all the way home.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say as well, like just to build on what Grace said, if you are curious about opera, Gilbert and Sullivan is the gateway into the rest of the art form. It's accessible, it's in English, it's funny, it's the catchy, as Grace was saying. But if you like this, then you will like Mozart, Rossini, Donizetti. Like it's the gateway into that stuff. So if you're looking for, a foot in the door with the opera world, this is the way to go. And the Richmond Hill Center for Performing Arts is a real gem of a theater. Every time I'm singing in there, I just feel so privileged to be there. It's a beautiful space. The sound is great. Being on the stage, you get everything back to you. Like I'd be happy if we did 10 opera performances there a year. It's phenomenal.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful space.
Yeah, very good. Again, thank you for reminding us in Richmond Hill how fortunate we are to have a place like that in our backyard. So I do end podcasts asking the same question to all guests. John, I've asked you once before. I changed this up about the beginning of the year. So the question now is, if you had a magic wand and could make the world a little better, what is one thing you'd change in the world? Grace, how about we start with you?
Oh, it's a hard question. But I think everyone could do with a bit more kindness and curiosity. The world feels better and easier to handle when people are willing to listen to one another, laugh together, share experiences. And that's one of the lovely things that theater can do.
Okay. That was more than one, but I will count it as one. So.
Oh.
Okay. And John, what are you going to say this time?
I think I may have said it before, but I'm always going to say it, more music.
More music.
When people come together in music, everything else goes away. I see it with Chorus York. I see it with other choirs. I see it with Opera York all the time with the productions. People may have things going on outside of the rehearsal space, but when you come in and you make music with other people, all of that goes away. At the heart of it, humanity is a musical species. And singing is the most natural form of music making we have. So more music, more singing, and more opera performances at Richmond Hill Center for Performing Arts.
Okay. I like that. Well, thank you, John and Grace, for taking the time to do this podcast, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on stage.
Thank you so much, Marge. It's been lovely chatting.
Thanks, Marge.
You're very welcome. See you soon. Thank you for listening. I would appreciate you sharing this podcast. Consider emailing me at Marge, M-A-R-J, at margeandre.com. I would welcome suggestions for podcast guests. Let's stay connected.